Vince Carter, the Memphis Grizzlies guard forward, joining us on the show. Vince, good to talk to you. How are
How
you?
you doing? Long time to talk to.
You doing all right?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, we just had Reggie Miller on, and I said, "Do you have any Vince Carter stories?" He said, "No, he never dunked on me because he was always reaching in to try to steal the ball. Then you would dunk on Rick Smith."
Yeah, he set Rick Smith up for a bad one. Actually, it was Chris Mullin, but same thing.
Did you ever feel bad for somebody when you dunked on
him? Former teammates and friends, maybe. When it comes to the legends, the historical, the ones we consider the legends of shot blocking.
Yeah,
not at all. I mean, those were like dreams come true for me.
Do you
watch them, especially growing up, and then all of a sudden it's like, man, I just dunked on Alonzo Mourning, Dikembe Mutombo, to name a few.
Did you have a hit list?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You didn't check off guys, right? You didn't say, got him, right?
Never.
Never. Of course not. Of course not.
No.
Reg said you were a better dunker than Jordan and Dominique Wilkins.
Oh, man. I don't know. I enjoy doing it. And I think by watching and studying those guys from dunk contests and in-game dunks, I show flashes and flair, and then I just put my little flair onto some of the things they've done in the past. So I think it was just something new.
But also, I find guys that can do one thing really well want to prove they can do something else. So here you were, this dunker, but you wanted to prove you could be, a dangerous outside shooter. A guy who could shoot three-pointers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just, at the point you first get in the NBA, you want to establish yourself as, let the NBA world know who you are and what you can do and what you bring to the table. And while doing that, you want to show all facets of the game. And, of course, I was able to dunk the ball, had the ability to dunk the ball over people and whatever. So a dream of mine was, of course, to be in a dunk contest and show the world what I can do and all the tricks that I had and all of this stuff that I had stored in my head for many, many years from watching tape. I wanted to let it all out and show the world, what I could do. So, and once that hit, everybody was like, "Oh man, that's what he could do." But I was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I can do some other things as well."
Well, it's similar to Jordan. Jordan was this dunker, and then all of a sudden he wanted to prove that he had, an all-around game as well. That he could hit the jumper if you left him open.
Well, it was a little more for him. He wanted to show the world he was the greatest ever.
He's Vince Carter, the Memphis Grizzlies guard forward, former North Carolina Tar Heel. And I look back when, so you were there for Dean Smith coached you, freshman, sophomore year? And
First year, yes.
Okay, then Bill Guthridge came in. Did Dean recruit you directly? Did he go down to Florida and go into your living room?
He did. He recruited me. I was one of the last recruits of that year. As far as his tour, he saw me at 5-Star. That's where I played. I was out there playing with Stephon. This is some names for you: Tim Thomas and Stephon. It was Pit 3. It was like the prime week, and I was there. And that's when he gained interest in me, and he actually made a trip down to Daytona Beach, Florida, in our hot gym, and sat there and watched me with Bill Guthridge. It's pretty cool.
How did he close you?
It was what he said, in his voice. He was like, "Well, I think you're a pretty good player, and I think you'll fit in great with our program." So I tell you, okay, first of all, I only heard, "Hi, I'm Dean Smith, and you're a good player, and we would like to offer you a scholarship." Anything in between that, I really didn't.
Is that all it took?
Pretty much. I mean, he didn't know that, but yeah, that was pretty much it.
And I was trying to tell people that, there's Dean Smith the coach, Dean Smith the person, and I always thought Dean Smith the person was better than Dean Smith the coach, and he's one of the greatest coaches of all time. For
sure. I mean, he was very humble. He was very shy, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. He actually, I invited him to one of my galas that I had here not here, but in Daytona Beach. And Coach Smith wasn't one for being in the limelight in the public eye. He didn't like people to say Dean Smith and the North Carolina Tar Heels. He would like to say the North Carolina Tar Heels. Oh yeah, coached by Dean Smith. He was that type of guy, and he wanted his players to reap all the benefit and have all of the limelight. I mean, he didn't like, for instance, in the game, when you let's say you dunk a ball and you're trying to pump the crowd up and get them into the game. He couldn't stand that because he's like, he said, this looks like to me that you're saying, cheer for me, cheer for me, cheer for me. I'll never forget that. Wow. My first year, that's one of the things he stopped me from doing because I was emotional. I would dump the ball and I'd like to get the fans into it. He was like, you always look like you tell them to cheer for you, cheer for you. It's like, no, it's not. That's not what it is. So I always remember that by him.
Did he ever yell at you?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
In only the Dean Smith voice, of course. Of course.
So once you heard that voice, you knew you were in trouble.
Absolutely. And he was like, "Yo, Vince, come here." And then once it's the Vince, come here. Well, it can go anywhere from there.
My guys,
you got to get back. Stop cheering for me. A whole bunch of things.
My guys are watching your dunks, and they're cracking up. But yeah, Paulie.
There's a video, top 100 Vince Carter dunks. The fact that he's got 100 to choose from of the best.
Did you ever cross paths with Frederick Weiss again?
No.
You never saw him again after you dunked over him? I
never. Well, I saw him in the finals, in the Olympic finals,
okay.
And it's funny, the same type of play and situation happened, and at that point is when I actually tried to jump over him because let's get this straight for the people who hasn't heard this story before.
Okay,
I never thought in my life that I can jump over a man that's 6'4", much less 7 feet 7'2". So that was just the moon and the stars lined up correctly. Now, when I actually tried it again, in the gold medal game, he pretty much put me in the first row of the cameras. Then I leave there for a second and kind of smile and say, "You know what? I understand. I understand." And then I get home probably like a month later, and I tried to jump over a guy again, recreating that situation. A guy about 6'4", 6'5", and I couldn't do it. And it almost hurt me and him at the same time. So it was just this. The moon and stars are lined up correctly.
But you jumped over a 7-footer.
I can't explain it.
I'm watching it. I can't explain it.
And every time I see it to this day, I still shake my head and say, how? Like, I never thought of something like that. Like I never thought I could do something like that. And to see it happen in game still wows me because it's like, I look at me now, like I don't know if I'm jumping over a 5'5" person, much less, so it's like now I look at that, it's like, golly, man, I could do that.
How much longer are you going to play?
I'm not going to use the terminology when the wheels fall off, being that I'm out right now with a bad foot, but I think when I lose the love and passion for going to work and playing, I still love going to work, going to practice, putting in all of the work to play the games. I still enjoy being around the guys. So right now I have the desire to play. I think when I lose that passion and desire, it's time to walk away because I don't want to disrespect the game. That's one thing there again, going back to Coach Smith. He taught us to respect the game, learn it, understand it, and respect it. And then, I think when I don't want to go to work and don't want to play, that's when you start disrespecting the game because you don't care and you don't show your true passion anymore, and that's when it's time to walk away.
Thanks for joining us, Vince. I'm sure you got a lot of requests to talk about Coach Smith, but we appreciate you taking a stroll down memory lane.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, that's Vince Carter.